Good morning. Welcome to Fridays with Foster. I'm your host, Foster. Um, and it's crazy. It's Friday the 13th, 2020. Um, very, very strange time, strange year, but why not, right? So we all have to deal with it. So it's not really an issue. It's a truth, and we're all trying to handle each aspect of our lives as best we can. And really, really grateful to be on here with you. I'm really enjoying the times of reflection for me, both talking to you here and the times before in preparation. So let's start with what we normally start with. Today's coffee is the Amaha Awe Uganda, and this is actually one of their origin coffees in which they take part of the proceeds and help teach classes and try and help the areas. This one is specifically from the western region of Uganda, and they actually try and teach them and help them learn more about agriculture, and then that way they can come back and continue to sell their coffee. But here's the important thing is the description. So Amawa Awe Uganda is roasted using a split roast technique. For those of you taking notes, the first split is roasted to a dark degree to enhance the body complexity and to balance out the wild notes that come from the natural dry process. The second split is roasted more lightly, reaching a medium dark degree that allows us to explore the fruity aromatic profile of the beans. So we're going to talk about the aromatic profile. And on the scale of strength, this is an 8. Anybody's keeping score. This rich espresso carries an elegant floral profile underscored by aromatic and exquisitely uncommon notes of sandalwood. That's a mouthful. Try Uganda with milk and a latte. Okay, well, I'm just doing espresso because I'm trying to keep this pure without milk or I usually use agave, but anyway, so here we go. It's actually really nice. Not quite as strong. I don't know about the sandalwood though, but again, I don't have the most advanced palate, so I can't really say much about what I do or don't taste. Doesn't have quite as much of a bitter kick on the back of my tongue, which is nice. But I can actually seemingly detect the two different tones. So anyway, so there's the Amawe Uganda. So today we're going to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I'm really far away from it, and that is humility in leadership. Obviously, if you have any questions or anything that you want to post, or I'm going to do my best to answer them. Sometimes to be honest, I completely forget to make this interactive, which is what I really want it to be. But for the time being, it's just kind of me presenting. I do have some plans in the future for interviews and case studies and things like that. But if you do have any questions, concerns, or if you just want to say good morning, go ahead and throw it in the chat box. And I guess this is maybe where I say, if you like this, like my page or share my page. I don't know. So humility and leadership. I'm going to start with a quote by C.S. Lewis that was actually brought up with a group of men that I was meeting with this week. And it's one that's been heard for a lot of people have heard this before, but I think it's extremely important to remember. And that is, humility is not thinking less about yourself, but thinking about yourself less. So what exactly does that mean? I used to think I was humble because to me, the opposite of negative pride, right, is that being prideful and having a puffed chest, and a lot of times it's difficult for people in business to not put on that bravado. But there's the negative side of the pride, I think, gets us confused with what ends up being the negative side of humility. Tough thing if you're a business owner. If you're a business owner, you've got a real strength, a real drive, and it really takes a certain amount of kind of pride and bravado, if you will, for a lot of people just to make a decision. So you've got to be a little bit brave and equal parts crazy to start a business. But if you're a business owner, you need to be sure of what you're doing in most cases, and you can't be wishy-washy. What's your business idea? It starts from there. What's your business? You can't say, well, I'm not really sure. So there's a part where you have to be able to cover your bases and understand exactly what you are about and what your business is about. But then there's another part when it comes to actually leadership. And as I've said time and time before on here, and I continue to say to my clients, their number one job in owning a business is developing leaders in the company. That's it. I don't care how good the product is. I don't care how accepting the industry is or how low the barrier to entry is. If you don't have a strong team, you cannot continue to grow on a positive trajectory and sustain success. It's just not going to happen. So developing leaders is really where the humility comes into play. People like to follow, if you will, or be led by somebody who is powerful, right? And so somebody who knows what they're doing and has a good direction. But there's a couple things that I want you to think about when you think about the kind of leader you are today. And some of what we talk about is not just in action. Some of what we talk about is actually in the just simply the thoughts that you have in your head. And regardless what you might think, those thoughts are going to come out in some way, shape, or form in your actions. If nothing else, negative thoughts and prideful and negative thought patterns that we have over time, they just take a lot of energy to suppress. If you say, well, I don't let those come out in my actions. Well, it's got to take up some energy somewhere. I mean, for me anyway. And I'll explain my personal experience with this. So the problem with humility and pride. So there's a lot of the head stuff that goes along with this. So we use terms like the negative side of this is self-abasement, self-deprecating, and self-effacing. That is still a lack of humility. Just because I'm talking to myself negative, just because you're really critical of yourself as a business owner, you're really critical of yourself as a manager, doesn't mean that you are being humble. Just because you're not trying to lead the charge, lead the ship, and take all the credit doesn't mean that you're humble, right? So what that has in common, of course, all those words is the word self. So self-abasement, self-deprecating, self-effacing. There's the other side of that, which is not the negative side, but of course, if we take it all to the next level, it turns into self-aggrandizing, self-obsession, self-promotion, self-serving. And again, this doesn't necessarily have to come out in our actions specifically, but a lot of times we can't control it, especially when fear comes into play. And if you remember from one of my Fridays with Foster a few weeks ago, we talked about the 3 different types of fear. When I'm operating from a fear that I'm going to lose what I got, I'm not going to get what I think I need, and I'm going to be misunderstood and end up alone, it's really easy to jump into this self-aggrandizing obsession and things like that. So what does it mean then if we take the self out of it on the positive side? So if we take the self out, replace it with others. So replace it with my team, replace it with my wife, replace it with my family, replace it with my friends. Then what does that look like? So others aggrandizing. I want to create success and wealth for others. Others obsession. I'm obsessed with the well-being of others. Others promoting. So I want to promote others and the well-being of others, and I want to help others to become more and be seen as better. There's a lot of people I know that do a great job and have an amazing attitude in their work life, and not a lot of people out in the world or even in the local business community know about them. So for me as a coach, I really feel like it's my job to try and break that out a little bit so they can share their story, and that's part of what I'm doing with this, is to hopefully work into giving people the opportunity to share their story so they can help others through the process. So how do we, and then the other, other serving. So that act of selflessness. So how is it that I can think of others first, then me? I've spoken before about business acupuncture, which is something that I practice. In business acupuncture, I focus on increasing your bottom line and helping your business, and then my bottom line and my business grows. When I only focus on mine, not much happens. So the question is, so how do we become humble leaders? So what are the things we do? There's a few things that are actually in action. So I want to take this on Fridays with Foster and actually give action, or some people don't like to talk about it, but homework. But I'm a coach, so that's what I do. I give homework. So I want you to think about these things if you're trying to grow in humility. Admit to other people when you're wrong, and that's tough when you're at the top. But if you think about it, even from probably one of the most impactful times in your life in growing up with your parents in those early ages or mid ages in your teens, when you have a parent that makes a mistake and honestly says they're sorry and makes amends for what they've done, that can be extremely impactful on you as a young person because they're the world, right? And so for a lot of people, when they're working for somebody and they have a leader in their life, for that person to admit when they were wrong usually has a huge impact, much more than a bonus or even an attaboy can do for an individual. It's about really trying to provide them with an authenticity of who you are and act human. Imagine that. Act human. It's okay to make mistakes. Ask for help, especially to people around you. If you're going to be in your position of leadership as a business owner or otherwise, and you feel like you've got to know more than everybody else, you're going to be so limited in the level of success that you can achieve. The rising tide that lifts all ships, your anchor is going to be dropped low. You're actually not going to be able to rise with the other ships if that's the case. And if everybody's tethered to you, they won't go anywhere either. So asking people for help is actually another way to empower them as team members, to empower them, giving them opportunities to show what they can do. And in order to open up the scope of the capabilities of the business or the organization that you're with, giving another person an opportunity to grow and become something more, or be able to show their superpowers, if you will. Those types of things are really important as an owner, and that shows a significant level of humility when you really want to ask people to help you with this, help you with that, delegate this, show them how to do something, or get their ideas on something that's important. Number 3, take little or no credit for wins. When you stand out in front, some of the best award acceptance speeches are when they talk about the people that helped get them there. That's so much better than the I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that, unless they're referring to, I've got to thank the people that really pushed me, the people that really helped me, the people that really supported me. So don't take credit for the things that are great. Give credit where it's due to the people that help you get there. If you're not asking for help, then, well, first of all, you probably won't be getting a lot of awards, but secondly, there won't be so many things to take credit for, if you will, because your world's going to be pretty small if you're trying to do it all yourself. We are a tribal people. We're not meant, which is the problem with, or one of the challenges with this COVID world that we're in now, is that we are meant to be together. We're not meant to be siloed. We are tribal. And so if you're pre or post pandemic, if you're not in a place where you're really trying to grow your tribe and give other people opportunities to grow, there won't be a lot of opportunities for you to take credit. So you really want to make sure that you're giving people credit where it's due to them. Now, on the other side of that, if there's a loss, if there's a failure, if there's something else that happens in your business, you want to be one of the first to step up and take responsibility. As a head coach of a team, if the team does bad, no matter what happens, even if there was somebody who fumbled and the other team recovered and scored a touchdown, the head coach can come up at the end of the game and say, where everybody knows what happened, right? Everybody knows the reason that you lost was because, the running back fumbled. That's the end of it. They got the touchdown. But a good head coach was the one who would come up and say, we really never should have been in the position where one fumble and one touchdown was which was the determining factor of the game. So let's look at what we need to do as a team and what I need to do as a leader and a coach. That's where you can see people really taking responsibility for the losses, even if they didn't have a specific hand in that actual activities of that loss. They had some relationship to that, and people understand that they're not going to cower behind and hide from their responsibility. Number 5, the thing is really, really important, which I found I never used to do this, and it's extremely important for me now. in my coaching, one thing I never used to do, well, just in general in life, is I didn't share the mistakes that I made. And nobody wants to share mistakes, especially when they repeat them. Now, the first time this happened, the second time this happened, that's no fun. But what I found is that when I share the things that I've learned from, if it's only a mistake, I say that if you don't learn from it. If you do learn from it, then it's actually an opportunity, a learning experience. So when I share those things that might be viewed as mistakes, but I explain how I've learned and how I've grown from them, it really makes a difference. And there's a certain level of humility that comes along with that, because people get to see that I am human and I am fallible. But at the same time, I am learning from the things that I had done in the past. It's really, really tough in today's world. If you don't have a lot of trust in your organization, it can be really difficult to share that level of humility and authenticity about being wrong, because people won't necessarily understand how to take that. So, so again, just to run through a couple of these again as I take another sip of my espresso. So, number one, admit when you're wrong. Number two, ask for help. Number three, take little or no credit for wins. Number four, accept responsibility for the losses. Number five, share your learnings from people based on your mistakes in the past. There are a lot of other things that we can do, and we talked about at the beginning about the way we can frame our thought process. Those things that I just mentioned, those five are actions. We frame our thought process in humility and leadership when we flip the script from self to others. So instead of, again, self-aggrandizement, self-obsession, self-promotion, and self-serving, it's others aggrandizing, obsession, promotion, and serving. That we really want to figure out how we can best serve other people in our organization, maybe in our client base, our customer base. All of those things taken together will allow people to truly build trust and culture within the business, and be able to get on the same page and share their passion with the organization. That's where true success comes from. So I wish you luck practicing humility. I'm going to try and do the same. My personal experience is just all the negative, self-abasement, self-deprecating, self-effacing. I've shared before about my sarcasm. That's just the root word of sarcasm is to tear the flesh from one's skin. Don't like that. And it's pretty negative. I think when I was younger, I thought if I made fun of me first, you wouldn't have a chance to do it. So I was kind of protecting myself, some kind of control, which is ridiculous. But what I found is it's still just about self. A lot of people just want to be heard. A lot of people just want to be cared for with tender mercy, and love. And so that's what I'm going to try and practice today. I hope you do the same. As always, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here with me on Fridays with Foster. And again, if you like this, please, like it, share it. Go ahead and share the page. As many people as I can help as possible is how I'm going to achieve my why. And I want to change people's lives. So thanks a lot, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.